Welcome to Nollywood Film Club. I am Mr. C, of Roku Critic. I hope you're doing well. I'm so pleased to be bringing you this discussion and a film I hope you have seen, um, so that you can really get the most out of the discussion, and also because I'm not going to front, I enjoyed this film. It's not often I do this, is it? So please do watch the film if you have the chance. If you haven't seen it, if you still want to listen to the discussion without watching the film, I guess that's fine. But I really encourage you to watch the film. And yeah, no, I'm not going to waste too much of your time, but I do have to tell you that at some point, because we do host these on Spaces 6 p.m. Sunday. You can follow Sunny Record Critic, but this Sunday, last Sunday, the Sunday before this recording, the Sunday that gave you this recording, um, um, the Spaces had technical issues, so you'll hear some TV static to indicate where we had some technical issues. That's all. Please do like or rate the podcast. I appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy Nollywood Film Club discussing With Difficulty Comes Ease. Our movies, as we usually do. Welcome to Nollywood Film Club. We do discuss Nollywood movies on a weekly basis, Sunday 6 p.m. What? We'll discuss what we liked, we'll discuss what we didn't like in the bad, we'll disagree and push back, and we'll do a nice summary at the end. We are discussing today With Difficulty Comes Ease. This name. Anyway, we're going to be discussing With Difficulty Comes Ease. It should be interesting. I'm expecting a relatively short but interesting conversation today. We are starting with Incon. Tell us what you liked about With Difficulty Comes Ease.
You do realize that comes from the Quran, right?
Okay.
So be careful what you say.
There's no problem. It's still a title, and we'll get to it. It's just it's just me, Seth. It's not flowing off my tongue.
I know. I have to pull your leg, But it really does come from the Quran. With difficulty comes ease. I think okay. We start with the good. The good. I kind of like the directing. I mean, is it the typical type of new? Is it new? There's so many new waves and new age. One of the new age feels like an indie movie, and I guess it is an indie movie, type of something. Do I think there was a lot of long shots of people? No, wait. But the story is good. I like the story. This is well written. I mean, does it end in happiness? Yes. But does happiness feel end? Yes. Was there more difficulty than ease? Sure. But it as I was watching it sent me back to the period and time where like Nollywood like to torture its protagonists, a cry for help. Those old movies where everything horrible upon horrible things keep on happening. And I thought this was good, And one more thing, it talks about like a Nigerian story that we don't often say, like the convert. They are both people from like different religions, and they converted into Islam, like a Yibo man converting to Islam. Where have we seen that type of story? And this is one thing that I'm just saying, this is so good. This is the area where like I want Nigeria to move in. Like, I'm not saying they shouldn't do the popular popcorn thing, they should. But the areas of stories that are often left told should be told, And it's nice. It was an enjoyable movie. I definitely like some of the shots, some of the costuming. Abuja feels nice. And like, also I realize, and like, also that there's also some minority tribe representation. Maybe I went to go Google something. But it was It was good. It was a good choice. And I would have to say the people who voted, thank you. Because I saw other movies there. And I'm glad that for once, sense came to people. I also like other things too. What?
Amen
I'm
and
leaving.
amen.
Huh? What do you?
Amen. I'm saying amen
Yes,
because the audience have picked they picked some terrible movies, but yes, no. They tried
yes.
to.
I'm so glad. And I'm just happy. I'm just happy because there are movies there that people would normally gravitate to. And they didn't gravitate to that. And this was a nice movie. This was a nice story, a nice situation. Yes, was it ultimately a romance? But yeah, but still, it was different and it was nice. And you get to feel feelings for the people. That's my good.
Apologies, Elon has done his thing, but we are back again. Nollywood must change. You broke the space last time actually, but let's see if we can hear you this time, or if I can hear you this time. Nollywood must change. What did you like about Difficulty Comes
Oh,
In?
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, where did I stop? I'm not going back again.
Start from the beginning. I didn't hear nothing. Oh, well, yeah.
That's on you.
Okay, Dennis wants to
Anyway,
hear me.
starting again, I like the title. I like sounds artistic, so it's a beautiful title for a movie. Um, I like the performances; they are great. Like okay, they are okay, they are great. They are great performances. The mother-in-law, the lead character herself, like there are no bad performances. Even the extras, like most of the actors we've never seen before, they did well. So I like the performances all round. Um, I like that this story is relatable in a way. If you've lost someone, you would know how it feels to the whole thing. Trying to perceive their smell from their clothes. So when I lost someone close to me, I would go to this person's wardrobe to perceive their smell. To just like maybe I would be able to feel that person again. So I like that the story is relatable in a way, even though I'm not a woman, but the whole mourning thing is relatable, and I've seen people go through it. Uh, and the lead character herself, is not all that perfect. We don't have this perfect character. Even she was trying to forge a marriage certificate, and everything that was touched in this movie, kind of like they were not too scattered. Like everything was tied together, and everything they were touched were important to the story. The way they treat women when their partner died, how you find it hard to get things, to get the benefits of a dead person as the next of kin. I've been there, so it's very hard and very difficult in Nigeria. They keep telling you go from this, go to the courts, do and this and that. So I kind of like that. Uh, I kind of like that. That the the main character has layers. Do you understand? Our whole family, she has a family thing going on, and then she has been there before because her mother was also married to someone who was not of the same, was it of the same tribe or religion, and so I kind of like the layers to the characters. Um, the sister, I like her sister. I kind of like her. Every time I see Michelle Dede, I always look at her, the way she speaks. She's beautiful, she's gorgeous, and the way she speaks, yes, I like that. Um, what else do I like? I like the cinematography, even though it can be better, but I kind of like that it was not all over the place. I like the feel, the settings, the production design, the houses. They look like normal houses. They don't look like Lekki or houses and all that. They look like somewhere a bachelor would live, somewhere an old woman, a widow would live, just kind of houses. And I like that scene where she was making I didn't know what they called that thing that they were making like a character in that thing. So I kind of like that they really did something with culture with that. Overall, this is a good film, and I'm glad we chose this one over some other ones. It's a movie that I wish could have gone to festivals, and if it was better, like they could do better, and it has gone to festivals to, to be showcased to represent Nigeria. Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Thanks, Nollywood Must Change. I agree with a lot of that too. I can't remember the queue whether it was Elizabeth before Vanessa. Let me go with my gut feeling. Elizabeth. Elizabeth, you want to finish?
It's Vanessa.
It was me. I was
Vanessa.
waiting for him to make
I
his choice.
feel like somebody is being biased here.
I was waiting for him to make his choice because
Oh,
I knew it was
God.
coming. I knew it was coming.
Leaders should not be biased, at least not be obviously biased.
People kept quiet. You were waiting for me.
I wanted you to, I
I
wanted
have
you to
done it.
fall.
I have done it now. What now? I
See
have
your
done
life
it.
outside.
Okay, talk, Joe.
Go away.
What is-
Hello, everybody. Actually, okay, let's get into my goods. I'm being very serious today because I actually really like this and I love Korede, Stan Korede. So yeah, big up Korede, everybody. Shout out to Korede Azeez. Yeah, I really enjoyed the subject matters, not just one that were discussed in this film. I found it very refreshing to have a Muslim story told in such a nuanced way. I appreciated the look at the Islamic mourning traditions and customs. I like the angle of what that's like for a revert, especially someone who isn't from a northern family and who's married into a northern Nigerian family. I also appreciate the intersectionality of what that is like to be at odds with your mother-in-law, but with like not speaking the same language as her, and the disdain that your mother-in-law looks at you, especially because she hasn't had children, and because all these themes are universal, but it was told from what I would describe as a local lens. And basically what I'm trying to say is this is what I've been asking from Nollywood now for years, is tell universal stories, deal with universal themes, but looking at it from a local lens. And in this case, the local lens is Northern Nigerian, Islamic, reverts and converts, and what that is like, and the effects that those have on your interpersonal relationships. And all these themes are universal. You're at war with your mother-in-law, you're mourning the loss of a partner, you're dealing with the aftermath of all of that, but this is told from what is a very specific lens. And that is how Nollywood films and stories should be told. It is not us trying to tell international stories or stuff that isn't ours from a local lens. No, you can deal with universal themes, but while still telling it from like a Western lens, which is very odd that we're doing now, but like tell it from a local lens, whatever that local lens means to your story in that specific thing, tell it in that way. Still on nuances, like Kamzi, I am like, wow, meal. Like Nollywood must change. God. I also appreciate that this film shows the legal higi haga that Nigerians go through, and that Nigeria will happen to all of us in a very odd way, especially, and we never really know how Nigeria will happen to us until when we're right in the middle of it. Like, I'm sure she never really thought about what her marriage certificate looked like, or the fact that what she had wasn't a death certificate, but it was a cause of death. Like, those little stupid things and the bureaucracies that make Nigeria what Nigeria is. You never really think about it until it happens to you. I mean, she had to forge a marriage certificate. I'm sure she never thought she'd have to forge a marriage certificate. I think no one ever thinks they're going to have to forge anything or have to swear an affidavit or something just to get something. It's all just higgy haga. And I appreciate the thought that went into that. I also appreciate like the focus on two different convert/revert stories, right? Or three, because her father also converted and then reverted. Like, her father met someone who was a Muslim, married and converted, and then halfway through 10 years or how many years into their marriage, he decides to revert to Islam. And the toll that took on their family, and the fact that she decided to go follow her father and revert to Islam as well, and what that had with her relationship with her family, and what that meant when she married into a family of, who have always been Muslim, and her relationships with them, and then meeting this guy who was also a revert, And like, I really appreciate the nuance that and the sensitivity that Korede and the writers of this took to telling this story. My other good, Uzamaka Nuno is, yeah, she's one of my fave among like young Nollywood actors, right? I love seeing her in everything. I've loved seeing her in everything, and she knows this. Put Uzamaka in all the things. Yeah, everybody knows where I stand on Caleb Richards. If you don't already know where I stand on Caleb Richards, this I'm gonna put you on notice. That is the absolute love of my life. Yeah, I'm just saying. I appreciate in this that they didn't have him play a northern man, or a Hausa man in this. And you know what? Great or damn, but he still was our Muslim romantic interest, and I'll take it. I appreciate his work as a romantic man in Nollywood. Yes, do I want him to have other roles? Of course. But is he a lover man? Does he execute lover man well? Yes, he does. And I'll continue to eat it up because I appreciate it. And I also appreciate how he portrayed this character, Ray, and like the nuances also with like dealing with how his family has shunned him basically since he converted or reverted to Islam. All hail Umi Baba Ahmed. Umi Baba Ahmed, everybody. I am saying Umi Baba Ahmed's name multiple times because I want it to sink in your memories. Everybody hail Umi Baba Ahmed. She's one of my favorite, if not my favorite, middle-aged actresses in Nollywood. She is my queen. That is who played Hajia Uzamaka, Zainab's mother-in-law. She is fantastic an actress. I love her so much. Again, put Umi Baba Ahmed in all the things, and not just northern things, and not just playing a Muslim character, not just playing a northern woman. Put her in other things in mainstream Nollywood. Umi Baba Ahmed, everybody remember that name. Michelle Dede is another favorite of mine. For the few couple scenes she was in, I loved her. Ibira mentions, yippee, like, please can we mention more minority tribes in Nigeria? Everybody, if you can mention an Igede here, an Idoma here, an Igala here, an Ibira there, you know, go search all the Ejukun there, just find a tribe, a minority tribe, name your characters after them, do the research, find someone in that tribe, learn their languages, learn their names. But we need more minority tribe mentions in Nollywood. Abuja in films is always a pleasure to see. It was really great to see it. And final, like, speaking about titles, I really like when, I don't like it all the time, but I really like it when films do that thing where they mention the title of the film in the film. And I like how this was done, especially because when Zainab was listening to a message or a sermon, I don't know what they call it in Islam, and the Imam was saying, yeah, with hardship comes ease. And I was like, yes, title of the film. Thank you very much. Woohoo! We got the title of the film in the film, and it didn't feel like cringe-worthy. Like, I was like, I saw it, I mentioned it, I was happy about it, but I didn't cringe when they mentioned the name of the film in the film. And those are my goods, everybody.
Wow, a serious Vanessa. Just as obnoxious as the less serious ones, to be honest. All right.
Rude.
But thanks, Vanessa. All right. Elizabeth, do you want to tell us some of the things you enjoyed about With Difficulty Comes Ease?
Yes, I want to. Let me just say, can you hear me? Because my internet is dealing with me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I take it. All right. So first, I should have actually gone first before Vanessa because it's like she does this thing where we both jack each other's points, and I don't like it. I should have gone so that she would have been the one doing these complaints right now. Say, "Oh, you took my points," but anyways, now I'm doing that. So to my good, let me just say that this is what I mean when I've been saying that Nollywood should conquer simple stories first. I mean, this is basically blah blah sort of story, but without the dramatic conflict. But then told because it's told as though it is personal to the filmmaker. This movie deals with a lot of conflicts. And I think that was the thing that stood out to me as I kept watching it. There's a lot of familial conflict. There is a primary conflict that we were introduced to, right? Then there is conflict between herself and her husband's brother. They basically stole their money. And then we see the conflict. There is conflict with the person who owns the shop, the person who owns the goods. There's conflict with a dad and his wife, a dad and his family, her mom and herself, her sister, Ryan with his family. This film does it in such a way that if it was a bit more sentimental than this, it probably would have been overwhelming. It would probably be overwhelming. But it does it in such a way that you don't notice sometimes. Like you're seeing all of this conflict, but you don't know. It's not jarring, so it doesn't overwhelm you. I really appreciate that. Really, I'm one for watching something that's doesn't throw you off. And from watching this film, when I started watching it, I didn't get thrown out at any point. I really appreciate that because I was able to also do other things like working. I could watch this thing in total silence, staring at it and without voice. I could also watch it without watching it, just listening to the dialogue. And I think this is one of my own best praise for a film. Like if I can watch your film as a podcast, as I'm doing other things with my life, that makes me want to drop all the other things and just come and just watch it. It's fine. And they also speak to how much I also like the pacing. We will not agree about if it's perfect, but I think there is a perfect rhythm here to show how everything played out, right? It should seem slow, but it doesn't, at least to me. Anyways, don't take my word. I'm a professional slow movie watcher, but I really like that the rhythm didn't, throw me out. And then I can't remember if I heard music. The first, or rather, more like when I first heard music, I appreciated it. Again, this film knew how to use silence, and it uses so perfectly in the way that it matches the theme. Shout out to filmmaker, unlike some people we're not going to mention. The music did not use, like, there was no use of music to force empathy out of you to feel sad for Zainab's character. I really appreciated that. And then it really helps push the story forward. So, and overall, you can just feel when a story is there to a filmmaker, because it comes to, like it says, with difficulty comes is. I find it very fascinating because when I finished watching it, I was like, with difficulty comes is. And by a sheer stroke of luck and time, everything fell into place. Part of the money got paid. The missing merchandise found its place back to the owner. I like the I like the fact that, everything just seemed to come together. There was not major dramatic conflict. We'll speak about the other parts maybe later. But I like that, with difficulty comes is, it's almost like a hand holding here that things just, everything's going to be okay. I mean, if even if it's by a sheer stroke of luck, everything's really just going to fall into place. And I really like that. I also wanted to say that I did something here that I really like. I like juxtaposing the houses. Aja's house felt really lived in, even though there was hardly any personal touch. I didn't see pictures. I can't remember, again, maybe because I didn't remember catching any personal effect, like with the picture, except for Ajia's room. But you can see that this is a lived-in house. It looked so, everything worked together because costume, everything just fell into place. I just opposite with the house, Ryan's own house that he allowed Z to stay. And it occurred to me that obviously he removed his own personal effect. And so it just seemed like there's a empty house. I thought that was brilliant. Every other thing here, I like the editing. Not so much on it, but I like the fact that there were the little things to pick up on the phone, the this, the that, things falling to the floor, like just little things that puts film together. Because again, film is a concerted effort, all things flowing together. So back to story was simple, extremely simple, well told. Actors, they were acting, maybe not all the actors. I appreciate it. No, people don't like believing, but I'm telling you, watching Northern films, they're a bit more lethargic in, apart from the fact that Abuja is slow and every other place up north is slow in at least pace and work of life. Even when they're speaking, there's a bit of lethargy to it. At least, but our main actors, yeah, they managed to find synergy together. I really liked Hajia's character. She was super unhinged in there. So that's it for my likes. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Elizabeth. Rotimi, do you want to tell us the things you liked about With Difficulty Comes Ease? Did Rotimi just disappear? I think it did. Okay. All
Elon
right.
is doing a madness today.
Yeah, he is. He's doing his worst. Okay. All right. On this film on top. All right. I have a few things. So I want to say congratulations on not starting your film with, Korede. Congratulations on not starting your film with a drone shot. It is possible, guys. It is absolutely possible. And on top of that, one of the other things is, there are other ways to do establishing shots. Number one, you have to think about whether we really need to establish whether we need it in the first place. But there are other ways to do it. And I like that we did a little throwback of using signboards. It's a thing we used to do back in the old Nollywood movies. We used to use signboards as hey, this is where we are, if we don't want to spell it out in the things. And it was just so much more refreshing. I think there was a time where we're at the hospital, we don't even see a doctor, but the way you edit it was presented. That's something I really like about it. The presentation, the way it was presented was you're looking at the sign of the hospital, and then you're hearing the conversation between the doctor and her. No need to go inside and be in a badly in somebody's office that looks like a hospital, just that's, when I was, what, it was the first few seconds where I knew I was like, all right, I'm in safe hands. It was that beginning. That's when I was like, okay, I think I'm in safe hands. And like, Elizabeth said, I did like the editing about this. There were really a lot of really nice transitions here and there. In this film, one escapes my mind. I can't remember. I think there's one between our lead character taking her drugs or getting drugs from the pharmacy, and the mother-in-law taking her own drugs. But they're really nice, cute transitions like this that showed that there was thought in pre-production that went in. I liked the directing of this a lot, especially in the openness. Open 30 minutes for me of this is really the first 20 or 30 odd minutes really strong for me. All the people who are horrible people or who are doing not nice things to our characters, they don't see themselves as horrible people. Maybe with the exception of the mother-in-law, who is she's supposed to be wicked, to be honest. But everybody else is they're doing their job. I'm just doing my job. And I remember the person, I think it was the guy who was requiring was it marriage certificate? I can't remember, one of the either marriage or death certificates. But he had requested it from her and she didn't have it. And she goes and, she's having, I don't want to have to do this. I don't want to have to do fake thing. Oh no, it can't be me, that kind of thing. And Nigeria teaches you that Nigeria happens to you and then you become a slightly different person. But when you can almost see when she's bringing it back, she's scared that I've been bringing this fake thing. Am I going to be caught or anything like that? And the way the guy takes it, in my head, I was just thinking the reason why this guy was upset with her in the beginning was like, there's nothing there. Just go and print a certificate and bring, why are you disturbing me and trying to, negotiate this thing with me? This thing's not easy to go and print. That's what I felt in my head because again, if you've Nigeria'd, this is kind of the way, it runs. So I like the world that this had. It just fits so well. I think it was, Elizabeth was talking about the place feeling really well lived. I was watching this with a friend, and she talked about how she liked the way the bed looked. The bed looked it wasn't completely fully made, and that's the kind of thing we tend to notice. Like, somebody has been sleeping on that bed for a while. That's what the bed looked like. So it's small things like that. It's the nobody's all the people who do. I think I mentioned all the people doing bad things. They're not really shouting and being. They're just part of the system. I think I put on my notes. What else I put here? I said this is how to make a PSA without making it cringe and heavy on the preaching aspect. There's so many things one can pick up from this especially probably as a Muslim woman, the things that you should do that would help you safeguard yourself against potential things like this. Just things to learn, and even just good. I mean, like, that's to be honest. I'm not calling this a PSA because I think PSA feels shallow in this, but there's certainly a lot of things one can learn from this. And the last thing I think I will touch on is everybody knows, I love Ayumafe, and Ayumafe is like a film that for me is at the pinnacle. I don't know that any Nollywood film might reach that film for me for a long time. However, this did remind me of Ayumafe in a few ways, and it's that they have especially Mofe, because like you have this thing where your lead character has lost a loved one, and they're going through the Nigerian system, and the Nigerian system is showing them shege, and they're just trying to get through. And nothing feels more Nigerian than bad things and shitty things happening to you, and you're just getting through. It feels like the most Nigerian thing, especially if you localize some of those things that happened. I remember like when all these things happening and her slippers got. That's like, yo. Anyway, but yeah, I really liked this film, especially the first 30 odd minutes. Those were for me the strongest parts for it for me. This is, without getting into the summary, this is one that I'm definitely going to be watching again. I've already seen it 1.5 times, but I'm going to be watching it again. Anyway, Rotimi, do you want to tell us the things you liked about With Difficulty Comes Ease?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to, for all of you, I don't know there's nothing left for me to say. Anything I say, Vanessa has already said everything. You have already taken the last part of it. So there's literally nothing left for me to say, but I'll still make an attempt. For Nollywood Must Change, the thing, he was asking about the dish. It's actually called masa. So for him to know, that's masa. I think the first person I have to shout out to, first of all, is to the director, Korede. Am I saying that right? And I'm probably because I was an advocate from It Blooms in June. There's something about her directing, and there's something they call the director's voice. And I think this, more than any of our former projects, her voice is starting to come through. Like, there are a lot of projects that people do, and I'm like, this looks like, if I say for a lack of better word, like the Yoruba epic, it has become almost like a template. I already know what to expect. But this one, this story, this uniqueness of this story gave Korede a platform to tell. I can see her. And I think that that is one other thing that to also have an emotional connection, for somebody to put an emotional connection inside their story. Now, it even starts from even the title, With Difficulty Comes Ease. It's actually a verse from a surah in the Quran. So it's almost it's self-explanatory, but when you now take that theme, that idea of difficulty after difficulty comes ease, and you create a story that actually exemplifies and builds on that theme. So everything, if I didn't see the title at the beginning, And I came at the end and I was like, okay, what would I call this? And I called it with difficulty because it is, I'm not like, okay, this is what everything I watched. This is the theme of the movie. And I think that's probably like a lot of praise to her because there are very few movies, Nollywood movies, that actually understand what they are trying to say or make it a theme to just even understand that I am trying to convey something, a message or something. That's why I see that point we are saying about a PSA, but it's not overly, the message is not overly messaging. We are experiencing this thing through this girl's struggle. And like everybody has rightly said, the Nigerianness now compounds. The loss of a husband is enough. Loss of a loved one is enough. But when you now combine it with Nigerian you, like it's like your problem has been multiplied. Nigeria alone, if you just even do Nigeria, just Nigerian you, that's enough problem. But now combining that with the loss of of your husband, then with a mother-in-law that is unfair, that's it's just basically the issue of like when we have bad in-laws or tough in-laws. But end of the day, that even the in-law, she has emotional motivation for why she's like that. And I'm not justifying her behavior. I'm trying to say that like by the end, when she knows that the woman that her son's wife is actually with child, and the child is actually for him, and she now warms up to her. She actually cooks for her. That last point, there's a lot of, like, for me, the emotional part is when she's like telling the mother that yes, is his child at the end. And that was like, there are some nice emotional beats for me, especially also the last final ending with our male, should I call him my love interest? Sorry if I'm sorry names, but that small moment with him playing with the child and the child like playing with him and everything. And she's just looking at, you can assume maybe in the future, maybe two of them will get together, maybe they might marry, but we don't have to go that far. We just have to see that small moment. And that's what movies are about, having small moments. And I appreciate Korede for at least having a movie that you have small moments that you can see and connect with as a human being, but more especially you can see both as a Nigerian, and me, I can also connect both as a Muslim, like seeing the respect. I think this is where I also come for Ozu Amaka, and I like it her playing as a convert, but I think she made one statement like wearing this parachute on my body, and I'm like, it's one of those things that like, it gets one of those things that people make fun of the hijab. There's also the whole thing that, oh, ninja, when the ones that cover their face, and she's like, she's conscious of the fact of, okay, that this is something that some people mock, but she's embodying it, and she's like, she has made a choice. And that part is also now layered into her difficulty, because she has made it to change her religion and to live this way. But now you're also still facing this whole issue of the people that you even moved closer to you don't actually accept you in a way. And that barrier is always there. So she's like basically on her own, going through this very tough period in her life. The people, like the shitty thing that her in-law, the other part of her in-laws, that they stole, finding out that they have stolen the money and they are jackpot. And that is as Nigerian as it gets. And I know this from a fact. I've had close family members and I got a phone call and they are calling me from abroad. And I'm like, wow, you didn't even let me know that you are leaving. Korede did a great job for this. Susan Amaka did a great job. This was a lovely movie. And all of you, yes, you are welcome, because that was my vote and I made it open. All of you are welcome. I have good taste. It's wow. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
All right. Okay. I guess we're going to pivot into, I'm going to read Halima's actual likes before we pivot into, I guess, what we didn't like. Halima says, I like this movie in general. The pacing, the edits, the shots, the actors, the acting, the story. There's a warmth to the film that adds to the tone of solitude/grief of the film. They managed a lot of things, and that worked perfectly. I also like the lessons in the film. It's not a typical preachy film, but it's very educative. Special recognition to all the major cast in the film. God bless them. Yeah, it's not often that, film gets all of us on the same page, but yeah, this one worked. On that pacing thing, I just wanted to even add that it's not often we get directing with patience, or editing with patience, where there's sometimes, an action hasn't happened. In fact, there's some, I remember the scene where she's checking for food, or it is just something very nice to see there in action. It's just something, if it were a different Nollywood movie, somebody would have just said, "Oh, there's no food in the house," after checking one pot or something, and that would have been it, right? But instead, you like watch actions. I really appreciated things like that. Like it is a visual. I think if you, even though maybe I understand what Elizabeth would have been saying by um, let's watch it as a podcast. Maybe in terms of the dialogue was just nice to listen to, and in parts for her. But I think if you don't watch the screen, you miss out on quite a bit as well. Like so that's one thing I really appreciated with this film. But let's pivot into the things that we did not like. Interested to hear what people say about this part. And we'll start with Nollywood Must Change.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, if you just go on, and if you can't hear you, I'll tell you can't hear you for everybody.
I think my that was why I had to ask. So I don't think I really not like much about this movie. I just feel like it could have been a bit shorter, kind of. I think that's the only thing I don't like about this movie. It could have been a bit shorter because at some point I was, kind of losing interest in a way because I wanted to see what would happen at the end. So I felt it could have been kind of a bit shorter and with a little less, subplot or less things they want to tell us about what women go through, kind of. But yes, I don't think I have anything I don't like about this movie. That's for me.
Okay, all right. So we're saying, Akon, do you want to tell us what didn't work in this movie for you?
Okay, what didn't work in this movie for me? The first thing I wanted to say is like, I think what's it called? The music mixing in the very first part could have been a little less. You know, I thought, oh, this is going to be, when I had that, I was like, oh, well, okay, this is going to be something. And it didn't actually happen. So I guess it's okay. I don't, maybe the mother should have been given, the mother-in-law, who by the way, amazing. I knew that woman spoke English. It was like, when she spoke English, it was an amazing something. I was like, so you can speak English. I kind of knew. Kind of knew. The mother-in-law should have been given a little bit more. I think she is given depth, but because I think she is given some depth, but maybe a little bit more depth, and she performed that role well. I think the actress did amazing. Some of the shots, as nice as they are, sometimes maybe there's too much of a long close-up. Maybe it stayed a little bit too long. That maybe the music could have been what's it called? Mixed in better. Maybe I would have liked more of it to be a friendship and not an indication of a possibility of something more going on between the main characters, But everything I got was pretty okay. I can't really think of something bad right now. Other than those things, yes, there's always something that can be improved upon technically. But hey, I ain't making that much complaints. Maybe sound, but that's all of Nigeria. Hey, it is what it is.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Oinko. Vanessa, if you managed to
Yeah,
find
yeah,
dislikes in the
yeah,
heart.
yeah, yeah. While for a large part of it, the pacing of this made sense in the languidness that's very characterized by Abuja and like a lot of the North. I did feel some bit of the pacing of this film fell off. Something about how the end came felt abrupt. I don't know if it was the writing or whatever, just something about that felt off for me. I also wish this was a teensy bit tighter. A lot of the many different themes that this film explored had to be tied together. And while they did try, it just wasn't, it just somehow failed to stick the landing for me. But those are literally my only faults. I largely enjoyed this. Yes, some of the technical bits, some of the cinematography wasn't the most inspiring thing in the world. But again, I never used to care about cinematography since until I joined this film club. So yeah, last, I could close my eye, ignore cinematography if all the other stuff I am watching I'm enjoying. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Vanessa. Elizabeth, do you want to tell us the things that did not work for you?
Yes. So I think my two things actually. The first is with the difficulty comes is with the difficulty comes is that there is the convenience, right? Which I don't have a problem with. With which I don't have a problem with, but it just felt like I said, it's sheer stroke of luck, everything fell into place. She shouldn't have, gone to stay at man's house in quotes. And then, when she left his place, everything just worked out. Went back to her sister, merchandise, she got the pregnancy did not, this one did not fail. Her mother-in-law, because she spoke the actual, without interpreting. Everything just felt neatly wrapped in a ribbon. Now, I don't have a problem with it because it's where difficulty comes is because time heals all wounds or fixes things. It just felt convenient in that moment. And the second thing for me, no. That's not all. Something that stood out to me, which I'll link to the last thing, is that the director really paid so much attention to the characterization, which I really loved. One thing I noticed about Zainab's character is that she was extremely defensive. And you can see, like, throughout the film, she was defensive in the way she responded, in the way, she's stressed, she's tired. When you have so much going on, everything feels like war to you. And I really appreciated that. And I thought with difficulty comes is that there is a part that she would ease out of that without us having that 1 year convenience at the end where she has a smile on her face. It just didn't seem to me like there was a big character development thing going on here. So it just felt so while it is a more realistic nuance interpretation and representation of all this sad bleh, I like using bleh as a trope, bleh trope thing going on, there isn't like a concerted, or maybe in the writing, sometimes it's possible for you to write so much and like trying to get it right and it just miss it slightly off the mark, is that maybe there is this part in trying to get everything right that it felt like there was a tight, neat ribbon, and then you forgot that you spent so much time on this character and its characterization that towards the character development, the character development just came like ready-made, just handed over, and as she's freer, she isn't tightening words to her chest. I mean, we see that, and then Ryan comes in, and then after just 1 year, and there's this perfect, can I take you, and it works. And I think that is what I didn't feel satisfaction. There wasn't exactly a lot of satisfaction for me there, and film for me is satisfaction, at least at the resolution. There should be some form of satisfaction in there for me. I should feel yes, even if, and it's to juxtapose with, which I don't want to do, because when I wanted to write my goods, when I was thinking about what I liked, and I first wanted to say this film reminds me so much of the portrayal of every day, without it being overflogged, and you're not trying to draw up the sympathy from us.
But I will say that in the difference is there was in the other one there was a bit of satisfaction to our protagonist decisions, right? They didn't get to travel abroad. They did, but they did get something else. They got an alternative and they were ready to move on. And there was a lot of symbolism. Again, that's a different film. But I felt like this particular one, it was such a ready-made, we need to end this film quickly. What do you think should happen to our protagonist? I'm like, yeah, sure. Our protagonist would have had a store. Like, I get it because we see that, she really couldn't run Kasim's shop. It wasn't her thing. But then, with her mother-in-law's acceptance, she could speak and her mother-in-law believed that baby was theirs and that the tears. And then it was just at that transition. There was a bit of what do you mean? Right? I felt like I was robbed of something really good there, of something to show us that there was an effort to this. Anyways, that's the only thing, which is really not so much. Maybe people wouldn't notice, but if not, this is perfect for me. I didn't even pick on even something that I'll probably pick up. I didn't care so much. Everything for me, I thought this was great. I thought this was first time doing great. I just thought that the characterization and then there was something else before there was something that the conflict with Ryan, and after she'd found out that he owned that house and how she couldn't empathize with his own, they were both going through this conflict with their families, right? It was how, she needed to get out of there and she couldn't empathize also with his. I felt like that 1 year coming back, something just felt unearned. Yes, that's the word. Some things just felt unearned. I don't know how else to put it, but that's it for me. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Elizabeth. Rotimi, do you want to tell us some of the things that didn't work for you?
Yeah. It's weird. Me, I'm the sucker for the technical aspect. In fact, the best way I'll just say it is that, like, just this cinema, it was not bad, but it was kind of basic. It was not incredible. And the best way I could just say it is, like, if I could take the cinematography from Water and Gary and give it to this film, and I would like what Nollywood Must Change was talking about, that will make it a movie that goes to the festival. If I saw this going to a festival, I'd be like, I'm not sure. I like the theme, but if you want to enhance it, because it's both film, stories of film is like a visual medium. So in that aspect, I'm like, okay, it could be better. I think that also lends into the fact of Korede's approach. As much as I love it because of the personal relationship that she keeps working on, it's almost like the stories are so contained, but it's also contained in terms of the approach to the filmmaking. So it's almost like I've seen what, like, Blessing, Blessing, what she has been producing with Dika and the other film that she's working on. I'm like, that is the approach that is needed. Freedom Way, with the trailer for Freedom Way, with the stories, Quiet Monday, the cinematography from those kind of projects is what is needed to complete this, as in on a visual aspect. And I also agree with what Elizabeth was saying about the thing with Ryan. With the 1 year later, it doesn't feel like, you understand, their emotional, whatever they were going through, got completely resolved. Or I'll probably double this back, because I'm like, when I say In Blooms in June, there's something Korede does with this thing with relationship, and it's almost like, I can't let this relationship get too emotional and too passionate. It kind of stops. It almost still stays in almost like a PG-13, let's just keep in this safe zone. And I'm like, this guy, from meeting this girl, almost giving access to his house, sharing the same backstory of how, like, both of them being converts, I kind of got that this guy started having feelings for her, but it was like, you don't want to push, we just keep it in this small tone. And I'm like, you can use that to elevate it. It won't hurt anybody if you elevate. Though I think because of the nature of the culture and maybe the religion, you don't want to push it that far. But like, that would give you, for the film, that extra emotional that election. But apart from that, it's a nice film. Yeah, nothing serious. It's nothing serious. Yeah, that's all.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Thanks for it to me. All right. The things I didn't like. Okay. I guess first off, I want to say that because of the nature of this film, I want to say I probably, I probably need to give it a second watch or a complete second watch before I know exactly how I feel about certain things. So these are like first impressions, really. Um, one of uh, one of the things that is not an impression. This one was just, I think, objective. This is a background hum that, honestly, on a different Nollywood film, I wouldn't even mention it here. But just because of how well this film does on other different things, I'm going to mention it because I guess it can be improved. The background noise or what was, the ambient sound felt, it just wasn't done well. I can't remember exactly what was particularly bad about it, but it felt a little artificial, I guess. It didn't feel intentional. It felt like there was background noise and we tried to reduce it, or the quality of the background noise that they put in there was just not great. That's just for that. I thought some of the score was a little cheap or a little cheesy for the use of some of the score was a little cheap and a little too cheesy for the film I was watching. Sometimes, something bad happened and it gave almost classic old Nollywood, scores. Not in the actual score, but the way, we would do scores back in old Nollywood, da-dum, that kind of thing. And in a film where a lot of sad stuff was happening without any score and you were just, it felt, quite realistic and it feels like the film is playing with this realism that again, happens to something like an Aim affair, doing the things with the scores, just, that didn't feel right in this film at all. Um, I think I know, I'm sure the girls in this are going to disagree with me, but I'm not sure. I didn't buy that. I didn't buy a love interest character completely. He felt a little too Prince Charming. I think some people have touched on parts of it. Like people have touched about some parts in the convenience of maybe some things and all the others. But this guy was just, this guy was an angel that fell from heaven to come and help her. It felt just a little too, just too neat. I don't actually mind some of the other things that came, like, oh, we found your goods. That can happen. That's fine. We found your fabric. It was lost here. That's fine. I don't mind that. But the way the guy was just helping, it's just that kind of guy. I feel like I need to know more. That's not a normal person. That guy has an agenda, or maybe if he doesn't have an agenda, there's something wrong. There's something about him that I need to see. He felt a little too clean for me. The I thought the back half, so I think I said the first 30 minutes of this I thought was the strongest. I think the back half starts to lose a little of its focus because I think all of the things she's struggling with, we start to lose a sense of emphasis of what needs to be solved, like what really needs to be solved. Because I think we start with this fabric that is missing with the 800K. But even when like the people come to like take things from her house, as collateral, like you can see how she's like, oh, this is not fair. Oh. Of course, this protest that she would protest, but like, I didn't feel like, I was like, okay, I guess this is, this can wait. Things, things will move on. And I don't know, it sort of lost its urgency. And then with just a couple of other things that she was trying to fix, even with the with the money she was trying to get from the account at some point as well. Like, it felt like, oh, now it's just 200K. It's just a bunch of all the things that were happening around her life just lost a little bit of the urgency that, I wanted to keep up. And again, unfortunately, not to compare, but the way Eyimofe gets around something like this is by having two different people's stories, and you're moving from this person's, climax to the other person's climax, and this person's issues to the other person's issue, and it's almost hitting new high points, to be honest, on each story. But it helps when you're doing it with two different stories. But that's, in fact, you can just ignore the comparison of him with it. The point just stands that I think, it felt like we're holding on too long onto these particular issues that she needed, these obstacles that our protagonist Zainab needed to overcome, and it just felt like it went on for too long, even to the point where it didn't seem like it mattered all that much to her. That's why I feel like at this point, my view might change on the second watch. Somebody's already mentioned it. I thought the ending was a little bit rushed. Ending just 3 years later, and I'm with everyone. I think Halima's. I haven't read out Halima's dislikes, but she had something in there about it, about how it just felt way too neat, way too quickly, and would have been fine with almost like a hint that there's potentially something that could happen later in the future. And I would have been fine with that. Yeah. Those are my dislikes. By the way, none of these things, maybe the thing with the issues, the obstacles, just losing a little bit of the urgency. With the exception of that, none of the other things really take away from the movie for me. And okay, I know for me sometimes the dialogue actually as well. I have to say, for me, the dialogue in the second half just felt a little turn by turn. That's a mixture of dialogue and probably chemistry. It just felt at some point, I think it was the way it was written, because they had been good in so many other parts, but at some point it just felt like, oh, my turn to speak. Oh, your turn to speak. I remember the car scene, when, after she had gone to print the, certificates. I remember that feeling that way. So yeah, there are parts of the writing that really could have been tightened up in that side, but yeah, those are the issues I had. I'm going to read Halima, and then Oinka, you can tell us what's bothering you. Halima says, why I didn't like the scene where Ryan starts to say he wants her to see him. I don't know, something was just off about that. It was obvious she was going to make it, but I don't know. I didn't just expect a 3 years later scene somehow. I have preferred if we got to imagine it. Also, I think there were a number of conveniences, especially with the way she met Ryan and he just became her helper. We could tell, but it was still easy peasy. I somehow didn't want her to make it in the way she did. Maybe I'm just a hater, but I feel like, again, we could just tell. I think a subtle letdown would be nice. Like, don't give me what I want to see. But yeah, that's it. Okay. All right. And my baby says, what didn't work for me? I expected more anger from her, especially with the kind of injustice faced at every turn. Okay. I'm actually somewhat glad she didn't shout too much. We have enough of that, going on. One of the things I think I would have even preferred from her is I would have preferred to see other glimpse of happiness. I know, like, she's going through this troubling time of mourning. I would have liked her to crack a few jokes here and there, because again, it feels like it's part of the human experience. Like, people aren't usually like that, but again, that's just, elevating. It's not a real issue. I think that would have just elevated it for me. Incan, why do you have your hand up? Incan, Are you
Yeah,
there?
I'm there. I'm here. I have to stop because of two things. One, it's kind of like pushback on what Rotimi said about maybe yes,
We have
it
not entered,
doesn't.
so we have not entered pushback. I mean, we're about to enter pushback, but you did not allow me to enter pushback. This is only bad section. If we're talking about pushback, let me officially, let me put the marker down. We're not entering pushback. Because go
Yeah,
ahead, pushback.
okay, yes. Rotimi said something about I look. I'm not saying that it's completely wrong because he has a point. Indeed, this might not be festival or something, but there's a lot of crap. Like plain, plain, plain cinematography, almost sparingly cinematography that goes to festival. The only thing is that they come from Europe or America, and then they have some sort of intellectual something of saying about this thing it is in the vein of this thing and this thing. I know that because I consume that. I am the market for that. But still, like, why shouldn't this one to go into it? Right? Nah, it's good enough for festival. The story itself is okay. Sure, does the story end in like a neat little bow? Yes, it does. It does a very mainstream Nollywood thing, right? Also, I just, what is it called? The story is slow. It's actually not that slow. It's not that slow. It's not that slow. But I think, I don't know, people should, I don't know, I don't want to start complaining like telling people what to do. But I'm just going to push back on the idea that this should not necessarily be in what's it called, festivals, because I have seen praises, high culture, like write 12 some 12 paper on cinema, do all these things on some very, very horrible movie. Well, I'm not going to say it's horrible, but movies that do exactly the same thing that happens in Nollywood and other places, but for some reason this gets more praise. I don't get that. I don't get it. But I also have I have other things. I feel like there should be different ways of watching movies now because there's just this one particular thing of watching a movie and the movie every movie that we must always have must always be quick in some ways. I don't know. I don't think it should be like that. I don't even think if a movie is not strong in like cinematography, it's not strong in cinematography, okay. But if you can get some movies that are not strong in cinematography and give praise to it, but they are from Europe or something like that, why can't this one go there too? Guess what is strong in? Story. And people can connect to it. Rotimi, I'm not yelling at you. I'm sorry. I'm not yelling at you. I'm just saying. I know it feels like that, but I'm not. I apologize. I get where you're coming from and you have a point, but that shouldn't be.
All right. Thanks, Inka. Let me echo my agreement. I also disagree. I think this could easily be a festival film. We have had, I think I haven't seen them, but, I believe Mo has done 2 shorts that have gone to festivals. Um, I, I haven't seen them, but, I think this film can go to festival. 100%. I think I go to festival. They definitely can. And I want to piggyback on then the cinematography in this cinematography in this is better than most of Nollywood films we have. Like so much better. I don't know, I don't need the cinematography to do anything, the camera to do anything crazy. Again, it's not, it doesn't have the um sort of the range of something like this is so sad. I'm so sorry, Korede, you keep on hearing it, but I take it as credit. It doesn't have the range of like an aim affair in terms of the different shots, the different kinds of shots that it does, despite it doing this almost stand back observational thing that it's doing, which I actually didn't mind. But honestly, every time it does every time it decides to do a close up, I was like, that makes sense. Every time it decides to go to a wide shot, I was like, that makes sense. That's good filmmaking. For me, that's good cinematography. And most of your Nollywood films are not doing it. Most of them with the best cameras, they're not doing this. Sometimes they're cutting to wide shots with ugly blockings and very, just making poor choices on the editing. I thought most of these made sense. There were just a couple of shots I would have put on a tripod instead of having them handheld. And again, we could have mixed some just variety in it, but like with what was given for the most part, I thought was fine. That's my pushback on the cinematography. Elizabeth?
I wanted to push back on saying that Ryan, see, let me tell you one thing. When it comes to romance, right? Whether they dropped him in the middle of the film for the main purpose of doing nothing that other than stare at our protagonist's face, is fine. It is very fine. In fact, if she was crying tears like this and he was walking and he bumped into her with the entire bank, it is fine. Even if it was the one that even caused the accident, it is fine. Even if he now wears a Superman uniform and now puts Savior of Zainab or be waiting their name, it is fine. Look, please. It is 7:17. Don't annoy me. Oh. That point is moot. It is not acceptable. It is not admissible. It does not matter. Whether it is physical love or imagined love, or the fact that, look, did you not see that he too was going through his own problem? Please. That has nullified any reason why he was in that film. Thank you very much.
Also, just to mention, there is a reason why he was connecting with her. He just finished talking to his mother, called his mother with a different phone. Immediately the mother noticed that he had what's it called? He's a guy. The mother hung up. And then he had to go meet her. And then he just changed into Islam. And it's like, when he sees her again, it's like, I felt bad about treating a fellow Muslim like that. And it makes sense as you watch the movie. They tell you why he felt bad. They give you the exceptions of why it's something and all that stuff. It doesn't have to be explicit.
Oh, you don't
You
even
don't have to
explain.
explain. Me, I'm
It's
here to
fine.
buttress
Yeah.
your point,
No, I'm just
Elizabeth.
saying,
Yeah.
even
I
like,
know,
there is,
don't worry,
Oika,
don't
if you
worry.
watch
Let me
the
give you
movie,
Oika,
context.
it is
Oika, these
Because
people are
responded
speaking their
I
truth.
just,
And I
I
believe
just,
that
this
is
is
what the
getting
movie is
annoying.
going
Like, I
for.
feel
oh,
like
you
people,
can't,
Because
you can't do. There's no need for logic here.
if
No
you
need
try
for
to
logic.
explain
well, it's
it, I
not
don't
like,
think
yeah,
it's
No,
there's no
no
fair.
need
be
for
need
logic.
for
It's a
logic.
movie, but it
Say
adds
no need
logical
for logic.
explanation,
It
emotional
does.
No,
logical
you
explanation.
can't. No need for logic. Lórí ọ̀rọ̀ love yìí nínú film yìí kò sí need for logic. No need for logic. Like Elizabeth said, it don't matter. It don't
See,
matter if it's there to
everybody
stare
gets
at
to
her.
choose when to forget their brain at home, right?
So
Good,
see, let me
good.
tell you people,
Forget
yeah.
your brain. It
Is
is
that
not, I cannot
is
forget
that
my
you
brain
can
for that
hear
part.
me say something, Mr. C, you cannot shut me up. When it is
I
Caleb Richards,
can
when
actually do
it
it.
is
I have a
Caleb
mute
Richards,
button.
no, let me say what I'm saying. When it is Caleb Richards staring at my main character like she hung the moon, it is going to work. By hook or by crook or by chook, it has worked. I'm
Yes.
sorry, it
If
has
Richard needs
worked.
to explain what he watched and put inside
It's a lie,
everybody's
it has
food.
worked. And like
Caleb
Elizabeth said,
Richard has charmed too many people.
thank
My
you.
TL is crazy with Caleb Richard. I don't
Because he
understand.
deserves. Because he deserves. But that's also a second point. Like Elizabeth said, all these things that people are saying, this we didn't just have an NPC standing and doing I love you in this film. No. Our character had his own conflicts. He had his own internal struggles. He had his own personality. He had his own backstory. He had his own life. He had things that were going on with himself. We still had a pause in between our romance. You people that don't read romance, let me tell you, when you read romance and then your character, your two main characters that are falling in love, they now pause. Then they now come back again at the end to tell you a
Like,
potential is there. That was a romance. I'm so sorry, guys. I enjoyed this. It was
yeah,
lovely. It
My
was
issue,
lovely.
my issue is not that
Sorry.
he's an NPC. My thing wasn't that it was an NPC. I said I did not believe the character, because
Because
just of how much the guy went to bat for
you
her.
don't know that
How
people
much
are
did the
not
I
guy
did
real
not
went to
lovers.
find it
bat
You
for?
people are
Tell
not
me
real
how
believable.
lovers.
much.
Bring back real lovers.
All
I
what the
did
guy
not.
did that seems big
Did I
is
not
that the
predict that all the girls will
Bring
not
back
like it?
real
I
lovers.
did.
I'm
If
so
I said
sorry.
predictable,
What?
I said you people will not like it. I knew
The
it.
funny
I
thing
told
Bring
is that
back
you.
real
no, no, no,
lovers.
no, no, no,
I
no,
What?
no.
told
What
you
Mr.
are
the
people on
girls.
Mr.
about?
C, nah. Don't put it into like, oh, we're women. That's
Oh,
why. No,
it just
don't
Bring
do
happened to
that.
back
be.
Don't
real
do
Okay,
that.
it
lovers.
just
I
happened
can
to
What?
be. I
logically
just
tell
happened to be
you
right.
the logic. First of all, that big thing that he did was give her a house. He already asked his female worker. The female worker said no. So he knew he had another place to stay. She didn't have another place to stay. By this time, they have been friends for a while now. Time was moving. He just didn't meet her and then do the big thing for her. That is, they have established, they've been friends for a while. Remember, it took time for her to get that money from the bank. And he was helping her. He never went against the rules of the bank. What is
No,
the
she
big
didn't.
thing?
He didn't go
What is the
against the
big
rules of the
thing?
bank.
Okay,
Thank
you're
you,
just going to.
Yinka.
You're just going to have to take your own at this point. And I
You're
knew
saying.
when I
He
said
didn't
it.
go above and
I,
beyond. These are above and beyond that people are
I
making it seem
said I
like
did
he went
not
above
believe
and
it.
beyond.
You cannot
He
make me
didn't go
believe
above
it.
and beyond
I
anything.
watched the film. You cannot
I
make it
even
believe
me,
it.
I mean, no, but watch
I'm
the
not
film.
saying,
He
like, the
didn't go
time
above
where he
I
and
said
did it
you did
was
beyond.
not.
like they
You did
already
not
know
believe
each
it.
other.
Did I say you did not believe it?
He
I said
didn't
I
go
did not
above
believe
and
it.
beyond. I'm so sorry. The way you people are
Okay, well,
wicked, though. If you people cannot help somebody from the goodness of your heart,
It's like,
you people are
it's like
I
wicked.
beg. People are
we don't
wicked.
always, by the way, this is a
Look at
movie.
this
We don't
guy.
always need to have an explanation. We fill in the explanation.
Why can't people be kind?
But it's
Look,
also there. It's also there in the movie. It's literally there in the movie.
I
Huh?
don't
So
care
it's
what you
not
think
like
is
And
I'm
there
a
in
then
the
you know
woman.
that
movie.
in all religions,
I
they are
don't care
supposed to
what
be
you think is
kind
there
to
in the movie.
widows. You
It
are
did not
supposed to
work
be
for
kind and good
me.
to
You
widows.
cannot
And
change
if
it
it
for
not
me
work
in
for you,
my
it's not work
head.
for you. It's
I'm
okay.
not missing.
It's
I'm not missing
okay.
anything. I did not tell you. I did not tell you it should not work. It should not work for you. I said it did not work for me. You cannot
And
change
you
my
are wrong.
mind. You
I'm
cannot.
not saying,
And you
No,
are wrong. I'm telling you
no.
that you are wrong.
You said leave your brain at home. You just forget
Nobody
it.
said you should leave your
Logic.
brain at home. Oh.
Is
We
it
didn't say you should leave
leave
your brain at
logic?
home. Oh.
Leave
Don't
logic
put words
now.
in our mouth. No,
You said
I
leave
told you
logic.
cannot to go down a whole spiel because people don't deserve
Because
explanation.
logic, no, because
You
logic
don't
doesn't
deserve it.
matter.
That's what I mean by
And
logic.
that's
No,
fine.
you don't deserve a whole spiel because you are wrong.
All right.
Because you are
But not
wrong.
even must change. Not even must change. What did you want to say?
oh, well, that is man. So the thing was that I think the reason why he helped went to part of her is because he said he doesn't want to see a Muslim woman in distress, kind of thing. Yeah, that one is weird, kind of, but because she already said that what if your clients are not Muslims? You understand? So I just feel like it's normal for it's okay with that character because we didn't need much from the character. But I don't know why the guys are arguing over anything there. So there's no big deal about that character. It's just there to move the plot. But it's done well in this one, not just because he had a backstory and all that. So it's okay.
All right. Okay. Anyway, is there any more pushback on this? Just because I'm almost sure Korede is going to listen to this. My issue, just to summarize my issue with the love interest character, I don't, again, I said it like, it's not a big deal for me. It's one of the things that I can let go because that's not the major issue. My major issue for me was the reduction of urgency of the obstacles. It just felt to wither away and that's what felt a little long in the middle for me with this movie. But for me, that character is just, it doesn't, I wasn't sold that character was the person who was going to be just a responsible man who was working two jobs and wanted to move whole mountains for this girl that he just saw who was also pregnant with another person's child. I was not bought.
And it's fine if other people were bots, good. But not for me. It did not work for me. All right. Okay.
You can help someone. You can
I
help
don't,
someone. You
no,
can see
no,
someone and be like, oh, this
no,
person
you said
needs help,
can't
and help
explain,
the person.
you can't explain it, you can't explain it to me.
And he grew to love her. He grew to love her. You, do you understand? I like, I like the
Guys,
moment he
guys,
saw her first.
guys.
He started missing.
Remember, this is a married man, okay? And he cannot understand that.
what?
And this man, it's cool.
What?
I'm just saying, you cannot
No, but that was
understand.
big.
And he's not even moving
And,
off earth and
hey,
bones for somebody.
look,
Like, you didn't do anything for
look,
a woman. Okay.
this
This
is a
guy did not
married
even go.
man.
It's his friend,
He's a
okay?
married
They've
man.
known each
I mean,
other
like,
for months now.
it feels like that is the kind of person who knows what to do to get a woman. That's what I would have thought you were implying by this is a married man,
No,
but what
I'm
do
just
I know?
saying, it's like,
Get away, girl.
I
first
know.
of all,
Some of
again,
us
you're ignoring that
have
it took
shown
time. The
receipts.
big thing, I feel like the big thing you're looking about is the fact that he left his house. What he was
It's
basically
not just
giving was
that. It's not just
advice.
that. I don't feel like this guy had a life since he met her. That's what
If
it doesn't
Somebody
feel
that
like.
went to Enugu for
I
his
I'm so
don't.
sorry,
brother's
did this
wedding.
guy help her
Ah,
with Alaja? Did this guy help her in dealing with her mother-in-law? No. There were
this
other
man
people that were
traveled
there.
though. He went for his brother's wedding and came
Yeah.
back. No, come on, he had other
Yeah.
things
Exactly.
going on. Let's be so
There were
for
things
real.
that she did on her own. There were things that she faced on her own. There were decisions that she made. The guy was not always there. The guy was just there really most of the time to deal with the bank stuff
Sometimes you
and just
see, and it
encourage
has
her
nothing to do
to
with
join
any
the
of the things
design.
that I'm complaining about. Like her having to do things on her own doesn't make a lick of difference to what I'm talking about. I'm just saying a lot of when we're seeing this man, he's expending so much energy on trying to help her, on
Because
trying to this woman to. That's
she's the
what I'm
main
talking about. So
character.
like,
Can
so
I ask a question?
because that's the thing. So when you start talking about, oh, but it has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. That
Okay, I'm not saying
she
but
stopped her
she.
mother's, she
Listen,
stopped
you
her
said, okay, he's
mother-in-law.
spending enough. Whenever we see this guy, he's spending enough of time or something. That's the nature of film. She is the character. She is the main character. She is the point of view
Yeah,
character. Is she
yeah.
there seeing him, monitoring him up and down? Every time we see him, we are mainly following her. We don't even see how or you could say the same thing for the other characters. We don't know what the mother-in-law is doing when she's not there. We're following her. The point of view is from her. And if you're complaining that, oh, this guy doesn't, then that's not a nature of film. Then go read it. Then that's a book. That's a book. And that has to be a book that has multiple points of view. That is not just from one person's
What
point of
I'm
view.
complaining about is that
I'm just
all
saying.
what I'm complaining about, all you can do is understand, try to, because you can't change my perspective, or
I'm
you
not
can't change
changing your point. I'm not changing. I don't know why you think I'm changing.
wait. No, because you're trying to explain to me why what I'm saying shouldn't make sense to me. That's what I'm
I'm not
saying. Like,
trying to explain that.
I
That's not
don't
what
know.
I'm trying
Well,
to explain.
listen to what I'm saying. The part of what I'm saying is that I don't buy that this guy was just too nice and too convenient for our lead character, right? Saying that, oh, some people, like we're always seeing it from her perspective. It doesn't change my issue with the character. He just feels like it's very, just the perfect piece. And maybe in some this thing, that's maybe some, in life, sometimes you just need some people that feel like this. I just felt he was just too neat, too neat a person, and that fits all her problems. This thing, and that's just me. I didn't say that's what
Okay,
you feel. And trying to convince me
Mr.
otherwise is just not going to
Mr.
work.
P, I think you're confusing with the fact that you think I'm trying to convince you. I'm not trying to convince you. You put out an argument and I'm just putting out an opposite argument. I am not talking for the
So
audience that's listening.
what's the opposite argument supposed to do?
I'm just talking for the audience that are listening so that people can just hear other things.
What's the
And they
point of
can hear that you
what?
are wrong,
I'm
Mr.
saying,
P.
That's Vanessa.
okay.
You're
So
confusing
that's
me.
the other
That's
thing. What is
Vanessa.
the other thing? I can't be
That's
wrong.
Vanessa. You
I can't
point,
be wrong. I can't be wrong. This is my
Okay,
perspective
but
You
of
can
that's
be
the
wrong
film
that's
that
and
I
say
true
you
watched.
are
about
wrong.
something. But
You
Mr. C, the thing is that the thing is that when you bring
be
examples
wrong.
of
I
oh,
can't be wrong here because this
Mr.
is
C,
except you're
listen,
telling me something that I missed from the
M-
film
Mr. C.
that I didn't
When
watch.
you bring up examples supporting what you're saying, I am just only taking those examples and showing and just
You have a
presenting
different
another way
explanation.
from seeing it.
Yes,
That's
I'm sure
that's
you have.
it.
No, but
That's counter argument.
did
You can still believe what you
did I
believe.
say that a
I have
counter
no strength.
did I say a
I'm not
counter
telling you
this thing
that.
cannot exist? I'm saying, of course, I'm sure. I knew this when I said it. I said I knew all the NFC girlies are going to disagree
Oh
with
no,
me.
Mr.
I
C,
knew it.
Mr. C,
I knew it. I
Mr.
said
C,
it.
Mr.
I
C.
said you guys
Again,
were going to disagree with
this is
me.
something. It's not just because I'm a girly.
I
I'm just
said
saying
NFC
you brought
girlies.
point.
I didn't say girls. I said because I
I
know
said
your
girly. I said
taste.
girly. It's
The
not because
NFC
I'm a
girlies.
girly. It's not because
The
I just think the
NFC.
man is handsome. You brought
It,
point, then I listened to your point, and then I countered your point. I'm not changing your mind.
Oyinka, that's why with Mr. C, you just have to tell him he's wrong.
it's
And
just,
you
it's
move on.
just,
Because
I'm not
if
yeah.
going
All right.
not
And
he would not
changing
agree.
his
And
mind.
even me too.
Like
Even
guys,
me too, I would not agree because he's wrong.
you guys are just going to have to understand that sometimes some people just have a different perspective than you,
Because
and
you are
that's
Oh
wrong.
my
fine.
God,
And
Mr. C,
that's
I'm literally
fine.
telling you, you can
And
have
that's
your
fine. And
perspective.
that's fine.
It seems like you want to change
That's
mine.
fine. Don't worry,
You can
you'll
have
be
your
okay.
perspective.
I'm
It's
sorry, me and Mr. C, I shall will get under his you are wrong. And I've said that you are wrong. And you can come and meet me.
Vanessa, with your leave your brain at home. I'm not here from
I
you
never
today.
said the words leave your
All
brain
right,
have
let's move
come
into
out
the
of my mouth.
summaries.
You cannot be
Look at that power. I can just do that. This is why you can't win. You can't defeat me. I'm undefeated. All right. Um, let's start with, who was first? Who was first?
I am.
Yeah, all right, you
Unfortunately, if
first.
you want to be fair, I am first.
Okay, I ain't gonna go first.
Yes. Apparently, me, I'm the detector in this place. Me, I tell people you can choose whatever you want to choose. Okay. As your reigning detector, um, this movie, I think it's good. I think it's okay. I think the story is well. Now, with that said, that's my opinion. On a Sunday night, or any day, or any night, or any day and time, if you're tired or you're not, you just want to watch something, put it on, give it 30 minutes. If it's yours, it's yours. If it ain't, it ain't. There are millions and millions of movies and TV shows around the world. Pick one of that.
Okay, all right, thanks, Rinka. Vanessa.
Mm. I really liked this, guys. Contrary to what some people want you to believe. Um, yeah, this was good. I enjoyed watching this. It takes you on a bit of an emotional journey, but not like where they're trying to that brings you out for cries. Because I nothing about this made me want to cry. It was just very nice to watch. It's not a perfect film, but honestly, it's a really good film, and yeah, I would highly recommend, guys.
All right, thanks, Vanessa. Elizabeth. Is that Elizabeth there? Okay. Uh, Elizabeth's probably, she's having issues. She's probably going to come back. If you guys want to give us your summary as well, feel free.
You did forget me.
Nollywood must change. I don't forget you now. If I start doing my summary, then, I've forgotten you. Nollywood must change.
Okay, I really like this movie. Not like love it, but I like it because it's a movie that, is relatable in a way for me, and it's well done. Yeah, not perfect, but it's well done, and I really like it compared to its Blooms in June, because in Blooms in June just felt not bad, not good for me. It was just there, but this is like a progress for the director, and I hope to see more from them in the future. And yeah, cheers to Nollywood for having this one. we are glad.
All right. Yeah, my summary. I really like this film. By far my favorite film we've watched this year. Not even close. I don't. I'm trying to remember. I think this is probably. I don't know. I have to watch it again. It might creep into, if not top 5, it might creep into my top 6 Nollywood films of all time. I really enjoyed it, despite its issues. I'll have to have a rewatch. But this is definitely a top 10 Nollywood film for me, that I've seen. I really enjoyed this. It's not perfect. It could do some things with, tightening the story, but, very few Nollywood movies are. So I'm much recommending this, and I can't wait to see this one again. When I watch this again, I'll probably do a proper review on this on even if it's Twitter, even if not YouTube, I'll at least do a thread. So yeah, that's how much I enjoyed it. So if you did enjoy this film, please do talk about it, tell people to watch it, and this is how people make the kind of films you want to see. Tweet about it, tag Korede, tell her thank you or whatever. But make sure your voices are heard, and that would work well for the kind of films you like to see. All right. So happy for this space to be this. For the audience that picked this film, thank you guys. We'll see you guys next Sunday when we pick another film. Can you guys do it twice in a row? Can you do it twice in a row? I'm going to give you guys
If Nollywood gives us the chance to.
hey.
Guys,
Don't make
Mr. P,
excuses around me.
can you not pick bad films so that they don't pick bad films?
Oh, great. Now we're now blaming back me, putting the blame back on me. All right. That's not.
You are the leader.
All right.
Presidents can't complain.
Yeah, I close the space and I wish you well. Have a good rest of the weekend and hope you have a good week going on. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the episode. If you enjoyed listening and would like to join live, just follow us on Twitter at IrokoCritic and join us every Sunday 6 p.m. West African time on our spaces.